Hello YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. I'm going to be discussing how the new moon is going to affect you according to your ascendant sign. This new moon is happening on the 11th of April at 22 degrees of Aries. This new moon is very powerful and very positive. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So essentially, this is the new year. This is the zodiacal new year. This is the real astrological new year. This is the time that you're supposed to set your intentions for what you want to happen. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is our vitality, our life force. Mars is the energy that we need to initiate anything, any action. We need Mars. It's always important to listen to the first part of the discussion. I want my viewers to start learning astrology, and the only way you can interpret how a lunation or any particular event is going to affect you according to your sign is by knowing exactly where your placements are and what you have on the degree of the event or the lunation. Just listening to the sign readings is not always going to give you accurate readings. I'm going to do this reading in a different style than my usual readings. So I want you to go to Astro.com and get your free natal birth chart so that you can locate where this new moon is happening. This way you'll be able to follow along as I read directly from the chart. So where Mars is transiting is very important. Mars is transiting in the sign of Gemini that is ruled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury is transiting the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So the ruler of this lunation, Mars, is in mutual reception with Mercury because they're in each other's sign. So Mercury is in Aries waving over to Mars, who's transiting his house. So they are in agreement. So what you're thinking and the actions that you need to take are also in agreement. If you're new to my channel and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, It's right below this video, the red button. It's not a commitment. If you're new to my channel and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, It's right below this video, the red button. It's not a commitment. I'm doing this reading in a different way because events or lunations happen at a particular degree. So the chart I've posted for the new moon is for my location. I live in New York, so I put in New York. Do the chart according to your location. In New York, this lunation is happening at 10:30 p.m. Let's look at the chart. Let's locate the sign of Aries, as this is where this lunation is happening. Let's examine the stellium that's in the sign of Aries. Chiron is sextiling Saturn, who's currently transiting the sign of Aquarius. Saturn sextiling Chiron is a very positive and supportive aspect. This is a healing aspect. So there is potential for healing from whatever heartbreak may have happened at the last Libra lunation. Mercury is currently at around 11 degrees and is also sextiling Saturn. This is another supportive aspect. We all did a lot of thinking while Mercury was transiting the sign of Pisces, and things could have been a bit hazy or unclear while Mercury was in the watery sign of Pisces. Well, Mercury is now in the sign of Aries and is thinking very aggressively and wants to take action. And at this time, Saturn is actually supporting whatever action that you want to take. Just make sure you're not too aggressive or too assertive in your speech or your actions. Then we have the sun and the moon at 22 degrees of Aries. This is where this lunation is happening. When the moon and the sun get together, this is the definition of a new moon. It's a very fertile window to initiate your dreams, actions, or whatever it is that you've been planning to initiate for a while. Lastly, we have Venus in the sign of Aries at around 26 degrees. Venus does not like to be in the sign of Aries. she's in detriment in this sign because she's exalted or comfortable in the sign of Libra, which is the opposite sign from Aries. So this is Venus's last sign before she gets home. Venus is probably agitated and tired of being in a sign that she doesn't like and is about to arrive home. And on top of that, Venus was Kazemi. She was combust the sun. So if you felt that men were a bit abrasive towards you, that's because Venus was burnt. Any sign that is within 10 degrees of the sign, any sign that is within 10 degrees of the sun is combust. Venus was exactly combust the sun on the 26th of March. So you may have had experiences that were not so pleasant, especially actions against women, because the sun represents male figures and Venus is our sign. It's a feminine sign. So perhaps relationships were not going well while Venus was combust the sun, and perhaps issues involving love and money were not going smoothly either. Venus is escaping the grips of the sun. She is going to be at least 3 or 4 degrees away from the sun by the 6th of April. And then by the 14th of April, Venus is finally going to be away from the sign of Aries. She's going to be out of there and in her other exalted sign of Taurus, as Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So women are going to start feeling much more empowered, and things around love and money are going to start going a lot better than they have been in the past month or so. So it's always better to have Venus ahead of the sun. This way the men will be chasing after women. If perhaps you started a relationship while Venus was combust, that relationship probably didn't go very smoothly. The love was kind of burnt out or lost. Now this is a second chance for you to pick up where you left off. Now that Venus is reborn, Venus is going to be reborn by the 20th of April. So after that date, expect to see things to go much better, especially for women, love and money. This is great news because bitch has been burnt because we all want love and money, and most of all women want to be adored, loved and chased. So guys, watch out. Women are going to be empowered, and not just women, all the feminine, the feminine energy that you have in your chart is going to feel much better and much more empowered. Taurus and Libra are also going to start feeling a lot better about themselves. Another aspect that is a bit challenging is Neptune, who is currently transiting close to 22 degrees in Pisces. Neptune rules the sign of Pisces, so Neptune is very powerful in that sign, and is currently square Mars, who's transiting the sign of Gemini. This is a point of friction. This is an annoying aspect. We may feel a bit apprehensive about moving our plans forward. We may start to wonder if we have all the correct information, if we've been deceived somewhere. Do we have the right energy? Do we have the right backing to go for it? This is an important question. I would suggest that you ignore this apprehension because Mars will be moving away from this square degree. Mars will be moving to the sign of Cancer just a few days after this lunation. So if you're feeling a bit apprehensive and undecided, I suggest that you wait until at least until the 14th of April. Most people want to make their new moon lists and wishes or begin new projects on the day of the new moon. I always tell people this is not the day that you're supposed to make initiations. The reason is because we're still in the dark phase of the moon. If you look in the sky, you won't be able to see the moon. So make initiations when the moon is visible in the sky. That's usually about 2 days after the lunation. And we still have to consider that Venus is combust. But Venus will be moving into the sign of Taurus on the 14th of April. This means that Venus will be in her own sign. She will be exalted. And then the sun is also exalted in the sign of Aries. The sun loves to be in the sign of Aries. So we've got two So we've got two personal planets that are both exalted on the 14th of April. So this is the day to go for it. This is the day to make your initiations and not to be doubtful. In order for any plans that you initiate, we need Saturn to support us. Saturn gives the structure and the support to any of our plans and gives it a positive outcome and and it also gives it longevity. At this time we have Saturn in the sign of Aquarius, and Saturn is exactly sextile the transiting north node. This is very, very powerful and very supportive. So what we're going to initiate at this point is supported by Saturn with this sextile. So if you plan properly and you're not too aggressive, it's very likely that you're going to initiate something that's going to last for a few years in your life. You're going to come back to this moment and ask yourself, oh, when was the time I initiated this? When did I start learning this? When did I start this new course? When did I decide to move? When did I decide to start a relationship? Or when did I meet somebody? Or when did I totally change the direction of my life? You're going to realize that it was within the month of April, because the transiting north node, which is the direction of where we must all go, is being supported by Saturn, who is also very powerful because he's transiting his own sign. And very close to Saturn, we have Jupiter, who is also in sextile with the sign, who is also sextiling Mars in Gemini. This is a very powerful and supportive aspect. Jupiter brings joy and abundance. The only caveat or warning with this lunation is we might be overexcited and full of energy because Jupiter is going to expand because Jupiter expands anything it touches. So we might become over enthusiastic in our ambitions and just sprint ahead and not care who's in front of us. So watch who you step on. So watch where you're going and make sure not to step on anybody's feet. So if we move over to the sign of Taurus, we have Uranus that has been there for a couple of years. Uranus is at 9 degrees of Taurus. I can't remember if I said Aries or Taurus, but it is Taurus. And Uranus is still squaring Saturn, who's in, of course, Aquarius. This is the transit of the year. It is a square that we're going to feel for the rest of 2021. A square aspect is uncomfortable. It pushes us into action. This square brings about uncomfortable changes or changes that we may not want to make but have to. Saturn is about restriction, rules, the law, our authority figures, and Uranus is about what's new, what's the future. Uranus is very uncomfortable in the sign of Taurus because Taurus does not like to change. Taurus wants everything to stay the same. Unfortunately, this square aspect is going to bring about change, whether we like it or not. One thing I found interesting about this lunation is if you superimpose this chart to your natal birth chart using synastry, you're going to see exactly how this lunation is going to affect you according to your natal birth chart. This is where you get all the interesting information that you can use to see exactly what it's doing to your chart. So let's look at the sign of Libra. Do you have anything at 22 degrees of Libra? If you're born in the 70s, you probably have Pluto or Uranus around 22 degrees or somewhere around that vicinity. This is very important because this changes the whole narrative of this lunation. 22 degrees of Libra will form a trine to Mars in Gemini, and there's already a sextile with the sign of Aquarius to Jupiter. So 22 degrees of Libra will also form a trine. So you're going to have a grand trine in air. Mars is sextiling the lunation and is also trining Jupiter in Aquarius. So for those people that have that point in Libra, your birth chart is going to light up like a Christmas tree. This is a message from the universe for you to definitely go for it. This is not a time for you to procrastinate. This is the time for you to push your plans forward. So essentially the fire and the air signs are going to find this lunation very positive. The cardinal signs might have a bit of a challenge with this lunation because Libra will be opposing this lunation, Cancer will be squaring the lunation point, and Capricorn is also in square with this lunation point. So there might be some decisions that you have to make at this lunation. I think I've evaluated all the important aspects of this lunation. If you like my new presentation or the information that is in this discussion, please give this video a like and share my video so other people can have this valuable information so that they also want to make initiations in their life. This is the time. So share this video with somebody, give it a like, and please subscribe. Also make sure to ring the bell icon so that you may be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you'd like to know how this lunation is going to affect you according to your ascendant or according to your natal birth chart, I suggest you get a reading with me. I'm waiting for you. Go to rachel-mayo.com and book a reading. Aries ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your first house. This is going to be conjunct your ascendant. This is your new moon. Every sign gets a new moon, one new moon and one full moon every year. The new moon is very important for you. The new moon is very important, especially if this is your birthday or you were born a few days before and after. This lunation is going to be in your solar return chart. This will be a year of new beginnings. Of course, when you have new beginnings, you have some endings. But if there was anything you really wanted to start, this is your initiation point. This new moon is conjunct your ascendant. The ascendant is the most important point, or one of the most important points, angles in the natal birth chart. So perhaps you'll be wanting to change something about how others see you. This is an important time to make changes with yourself, anything that has to do with your identity. If you've been procrastinating about starting a new job, a new relationship, this is the time for you to go for it. The universe is supporting you to make an initiation. Your ruling planet, Mars, is giving very positive aspects to this new moon. This is you going for it. The first house is about you, your body, your identity, how others see you. You could start a new diet, you could change your hairstyle, or you could decide to go for cosmetic surgery. When there's a lunation on an angle, your ascendant, it affects every part of your horoscope. It affects every part of your life because it's in square aspect to the MC, your standing in society. You want to change your standing in society through a new job or a promotion, this is time to go for it. If you want to start a new relationship, of course you have a lot going on in your sign, and you just had that new moon in the sign of Libra, your descendant. So this is the time to also initiate new relationships. And if it's also in square aspect to your IC. So if you want to start if you wanted to start something with your home and family, this is an excellent time. There is no better time for you to move your life along. You have the support of the transiting North Node after all. And Saturn is giving you the go ahead. Taurus ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 12th house. This is the area where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some endings. If you've been planning to travel abroad, this is an excellent time for you to begin this journey. Or if you wanted to start a spiritual healing program, perhaps meditation, or maybe you had some self-sabotaging habits that you wanted to get treatment for, this is a perfect time for you to make initiations. And with the new moon in the 12th house, some hidden enemies may present themselves at this time. And if you wanted to have a new beginning with that, with your hidden enemies, perhaps a reconciliation or some type of agreement to move things forward in forgiveness, this is a perfect time. This new moon will highlight all the things that were hidden, things that you need to look at before you have your new moon in your sign next month. This will be a great initiation point for you. This new moon is giving you an opportunity to honestly deal with your hidden issues. And then sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 11th house. It's always wonderful to have a new beginning in this house. The 11th house deals with the groups that we belong to, like online forums, online groups. It also deals with our friends. The 11th house also rules over our elder siblings, and the 11th house also rules over our elder siblings and our uncles. It is the house of our hopes, dreams, and wishes. So perhaps you're going to have a new direction as far as a friendship or your hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is the time to initiate things that you've been wishing to start within this area. This new moon is giving you a lot of support. This is you being given a chance to begin anew in this area. Cancer ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house is the highest point in the natal chart, the natal birth chart. This is also referred to as the MC. When we have a lunation at the highest point in our chart, all areas in our life usually tend to be affected because the MC squares the ascendant, which opposes the descendant, which squares the IC. So even though there will be a new beginning in the area of work, how you're seen in society, or perhaps with your job or your bosses and other authority figures, this new beginning is going to affect pretty much the rest of your life. This is a very, very supportive new moon. If you've been wanting to start a new job, this is a perfect time for you to go for it. If you wanted to ask for a raise at your job, this is also an excellent time for you to ask for that raise. For some people who have been trying to leave their job and go and try something else with their life, perhaps start their own business, this is also a perfect time for you to go for it. You may have some tough decisions to make. This is the time that you've been waiting for. Don't let this time go by without you initiating something that is very important and dear to you. Some people could change their standing in society through something like a marriage, or start something totally brand new, perhaps in their home area with their family. Leo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 9th house. This is where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some endings or some decisions to make. The 9th house is all about, the 9th house rules over things like law, religion, foreign places, foreign people, the court system, the legal system, our belief system, higher education. So perhaps if you've been procrastinating about going to college or beginning a teaching program, anything to do within this 9th house area, this is an excellent lunation for you to take your life into a totally brand new direction. If you wanted to travel somewhere far away, this is a perfect time for you to do so. If you wanted to initiate legal paperwork, perhaps for citizenship or a green card, this is the perfect time for you to make this initiation. Go for it and believe that it's going to work, because Saturn is backing this lunation. You may have to let go of some things because, of course, the opposite sign of Sagittarius is where the South Node is. So maybe some belief systems are no longer valid and you cannot take them into the future. So perhaps you need to work on that. Or perhaps you will realize that it's time for you to change your belief system and start believing in what you believe in, not what was handed to you by your parents or other people who you looked up to, like gurus or religious leaders, and then incorporate what is still essential to move along towards your future. Virgo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 8th house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings, powerful new beginnings, and perhaps a few endings. The 8th house is a hidden house. This is where we hide our secrets. We all have secrets. So look at somebody's 8th house if you want to know what they're hiding. They could be hiding other people's money. The 8th house rules over inheritances, loans, mortgages, anything to do with other people's money. Eighth house is a house of transformation. So perhaps at this time you're going to make some deep psychological transformation. Perhaps you're going to decide to go for some therapy. It is an excellent time for you to start some type of healing therapy. Saturn is supporting it with its sextile to Chiron. And anything that you've been procrastinating on, Saturn is in sextile to the North Node and giving you backing and strength to go for it, and longevity to whatever you initiate at this time. You could initiate an intimate relationship. This is the sign of intimacy and deep commitment. You've been trying to get a mortgage and you were very doubtful if you're going to be approved. This is an excellent time for you to initiate the paperwork. It's very likely that you will get approved for this loan or mortgage. Ascendant, Sun or Moon. This lunation is happening in your 7th house. The 7th house rules over our relationships, our committed relationships like marriage, partnerships, and other business associates or commitments in that area. The descendant is an angle. When we have a lunation on the descendant, the ascendant will be highlighted because naturally it opposes the descendant. And the MC is also highlighted because it squares the descendant. The IC is also highlighted. It squares the descendant. Since this is happening on the descendant, that is relationships. All your relationships in all those angles are going to be affected. Unfortunately, at this lunation, your partners have more power over you because of the stellium in the sign of Aries, and your ruling planet is in detriment because it's away from home. You're looking at your ruling planet and saying, you're supposed to be over here with me, not over there. So essentially, this means that there will be a new beginning in your relationships, in your partnership, in your business agreements. Whatever you've been procrastinating to initiate in this area, this is to begin your new relationship, your new business partnerships, your new committed relationships, all the partnerships and agreements that you need to make in your life. Begin now. This is time to initiate and move forward. You are getting all the support. You're getting all the support that you need. Of course, your ruling planet has been combust the sun, so you're not feeling very powerful. Give it a few days. Venus will be moving into her other home sign of Taurus, and your partner is going to now start listening to you and chasing you. You're going to feel empowered. This is a great lunation. So just negotiate the agreements and the contracts and go for it. Scorpio ascendant, Sun or Moon. This lunation is happening in your 6th house. This is the area where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some negotiations or endings. The 6th house rules over our daily routine, our work, our co-workers. It rules over our health. It also rules over our known enemies. A known enemy could be perhaps a chronic disease that is genetic and it's inherited, or just any other disease that is brought on due to bad daily habits, due to bad diet, lack of exercise. So if you've been procrastinating about starting a new diet or a new workout regimen, this is the time to go for it and initiate. Just make sure not to put too much energy into it. You don't want to hurt yourself at the gym. Go slowly. You don't want to drop weight on anybody's feet either. So watch that competitive spirit. Jupiter is encouraging you. Jupiter is making you feel very energetic and courageous because it's trining your ruling planet. So you're feeling very good and very positive about whatever it is that you're feeling very good and positive about whatever it is that you're about to initiate. If you've been having trouble with a co-worker, this is the time to confront the issue and start over. If you've been having issues in a place of work because of an employer, we're not able to resolve these issues. It might be time for you to seek a legal guidance. It might be time for you to initiate a lawsuit if these resolutions do not come about. So new diet, go for it. New workout regimen, go for it. Some will be actually lucky enough to get a new job offer or will be starting a new job at this lunation. If this is the situation, this job or whatever it is that you initiate at this time is going to be around for a long time. Sagittarius ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 5th house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some decisions. A lunation in the 5th house is always a happy lunation. This is the area of joy. This is the area of what we love to do in our pastime. The 5th house also rules over our creative ability, our creative talents, and our children. Also our romantic relationships. So if you've been planning to start a new creative project, artistic, perhaps singing or something like that, this is the perfect time for you to initiate. Go for it. Start it. Do not procrastinate anymore. Others may begin a romantic relationship at this time. Some Sagittarians might decide to turn a creative talent into a business, while others could use their children's talent and encourage them to use it to make money somehow. This is a great time for you to make plans for the summer. Plan for all the activities that you intend to have with your children or your romantic partner. It's a great time to plan for your vacation. And if you're one of those people who is usually lucky, this is a great time to go and try your luck at the tables or buy a couple of lottery tickets. For others who are planning to start a family, this is a great time to bring the subject to your partner and see where it goes Capricorn ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 4th house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some tough decisions. The 4th house is the natural IC of the zodiac. So this means that this lunation is happening on an angle. When we have a lunation on an angle, it highlights all the other angles. That is the descendant, your relationships are also going to be in focus, and partnerships. And then it also opposes the MC. So your standing in society, your job and authority figures also come into play. So this means that wherever you begin anew in the 4th house is going to affect every area of your life. The 4th house rules over our ancestors, our home and family, and mostly it rules over your mother. It also rules over our deep hidden emotions. So if you've been suppressing any dark thoughts or emotion, they're going to come up at this lunation. The new moon is going to highlight all these hidden feelings and you're going to have to deal with them. So this is a perfect time for you to start some type of therapy so that you can get some type of healing, because Chiron is sextiling Saturn, your ruling planet, and it's encouraging healing, deep emotional healing. If you need if you need to forgive your mother or another member in your family, this is an excellent time for you to start this conversation. Your ruling planet Saturn is sextiling Mars in Gemini. This is steady flowing energy. If you plan to move, if you've been thinking about moving to a new house, this is an excellent time for you to go for it. You have all the confidence and help that you may need to make this happen. If you've been wanting to buy a house, this is an excellent time to go for it. Aquarius ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 3rd house. This is where you're going to have a brand new beginning, and perhaps you're going to have some decisions to make at this time. This lunation is very powerful, and your ruling planet Saturn is transiting your sign and is currently sextiling the transiting North Node. And this is a very positive and supporting aspect. So if you've been trying to initiate anything in the 3rd house, if you've been trying to initiate anything in this area of the 3rd house, this is an excellent time to really go for it. The 3rd house rules over things like our immediate environment, our siblings, our neighbors. It rules over communication, our learning skills, our basic education. This is the house of efforts. So any efforts that you make towards anything So any efforts that you make towards your future is very supported at this time. Some could begin a new course of study. It's a very good time for you to learn a new skill, perhaps learning a new language, or perhaps discovering your own neighborhood. If you have had ongoing issues with your siblings or your neighbors, this is the time for you to initiate conversation and perhaps have some healing in that area. If you've been wanting to buy a new gadget, perhaps a new phone or a new computer, this is an excellent time for you to go ahead and purchase this item. Pisces ascendant, sun, or moon. This lunation is happening in your second house. The second house is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some decisions. The second house rules over our earned income, how we make money to support ourselves. It also rules over what we love and value, of course, money and family. This is a different type of family. The family of the second house is the family that we choose to make with others, like a husband, a boyfriend, or a friend that you've had for a long time and you consider them family. So perhaps there will be a new beginning in this area. Perhaps you will find a new way of making money. The second house also rules over self-value. You value yourself, right? So that's your self-esteem. If you've been feeling down or unsupported, or you're feeling insecure, this is the time to change direction. It's time to love yourself. It's time to value yourself. This is the perfect time for you to begin anything in this area that is personally meaningful to you and something that is going to also raise your self-value. Perhaps you've been charging very little for your services. It's time for you to increase how much you charge. That is another form of self-value. If you provide good service or your goods are worth it and you've been undervaluing yourself, it's time to step up. It will be supported. This is going to raise your self-esteem. So if you've been procrastinating about starting a new business or a new job, this is an excellent time for you to make these initiations that are going to support you financially for a very long time to come.